Welcome to economictimes.com. I'm your host Pallavi Arun Verma. With this series of webinars, ET wants to celebrate the COVID warriors who are contributing in their own unique manner to the society. The session will talk about the challenges to the ecosystem and how our panelists from different backgrounds have been part of this common fight against the pandemic. It is very natural to have doctors on a panel about COVID warriors, but today's session is going to be very, very special as we have a doctor, we have a politician, we have a life coach, we have an educationist on the panel to discuss how coronavirus disease has actually altered our lives and made us behave in a manner which is absolutely opposite of our intrinsic nature. The session will cover how social distancing and home quarantine has taken a huge toll on our physiological pattern and what are the ways to deal with this whole situation. Our panel has COVID warrior Zeeshan Baba Siddique, who's the youngest MLA of Maharashtra from Bandra, East Mumbai. We have COVID warrior Naavnidhi K Wadhwa, Mrs. Universe Asia Queen 2019 and Celebrity Rapid Evolution Life Coach. COVID warrior Dr. Chinmay Godbole, Chief Intensivist, KJ Somaiya Superspecialty Center, and COVID warrior Krishna Tiwari, Joint Secretary, Shree Rahul Education. To bring a little brief about each of our panelists, Zeeshan holds a master's degree in global management from Regent's University of London. And from serving cooked food to migrant laborers or distributing grocery kits, he's been vigorously involved in social causes, in relief works in Bandra East and West. He has been spearheading the sanitization activities for buildings, shores, slums, societies, schools, hospitals, police stations. Zeeshan has been critical in arranging medical camps for migrant laborers in different localities and has been providing them with medical certifications. He has also arranged and facilitated travel for many migrants. Naavnidhi, who's also a COVID warrior on this panel, has many feathers to her hat. Besides winning crowns and multiple awards, Naavnidhi has a PhD in business management. She is an entrepreneur. She is a meditation guru. She has founded meditation club Inner Ziva and is also an energy healer. She's an astrologer. She's a graphologist and peak performance coach who loves to inspire others and herself. Dr. Chinmay is the head of intensive care at KG Somaiya Superspecialty Center and has been working in the critical care for more than a decade. Srimati Krishna Tiwari is the head of is the joint secretary Shree Rahul Education Society, which is a premier educational group that has helped expand the scope of education for everyone during the COVID-19 pandemic through free Google chat room sessions for all children, irrespective of the curriculum, school or state. For this panel, we have a very special guest who is an Indian supermodel, who is an actor with a medical and psychologist qualification, Dr. Aditi Govitrikar. I expand a very warm welcome to all the panelists. Aditi, as we know, you have won many accolades and you have many titles to your name, like the Glad Drag Supermodel title, Mrs. World, I think, which is still being held by you, and no one else has been able to bring it back to India. And you've worked in different Hindi as well as Telugu films. But it's quite surprising that despite being so popular, many people do not know that you are also a certified psychologist, you are a counselor, and you conduct transformational workshops for corporates. So if you could tell us in your own capacity as a psychologist, what has been your take on the impact of COVID-19 on mental health, and what could be the possible and meaningful way of dealing with this whole situation? So I begin with you, Aditi.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. That introduction was really, really nice, and I appreciate it. I also a big hello to all the other panelists. An amazing work that you guys are doing. So congratulations on that, and keep up the good work. The question that you asked is very deep, in the sense that it is what it is. Frankly, the first part to the whole conversation is that there's nothing in that sense that we can do to change the environment, because COVID is here to stay. And unless and until a vaccines are created, I mean, of course, I know work is going on, and once those are released and we see the efficacy of the vaccines, we have to be able to live with this virus. So you have to maintain social distancing, you have to take care of yourself, you have to look at your immunity, because that is the only way you will protect yourself. And that is the first thing that everybody needs to realize, that start looking after yourself. Don't take it lightly. It is the new norm, and now the new norm actually has started becoming a norm where when I speak to the clients, they say that, oh, we now don't know how we will handle when everything opens up. So the most important and the crucial point is to take care of yourself, and then everything else will fall in place.
Sure, sure. To get a quick input from the other panelists, I would like to now go to Zeeshan. And Zeeshan, as we know, you are not just, you've been vigorously working on the relief activities. But there's one thing with all of our attendees and viewers who are now attending this session would like to know is how it has been for you, and in particular, in general, if you would ask, what has been the learning of this whole situation? Because this was a situation neither the medical staff, any of us were prepared for it, because this is something which happened like for the first time in many years. Like if we just forget about the pandemic which happened 100 years ago. So in this situation, as a politician and as a person, what has been the biggest learning?
See, I think, as you said, that none of us were prepared for this, and none of us, in our wildest of dreams, would have ever imagined us to be in a situation like this. So, being the youngest MLA of Maharashtra, it was a journey. I mean, it's only been about 6 to 7 months since I've won the election, and within about 4 months of the elections, this happened. So it was a learning experience for me, a learning curve. Obviously, we cannot, dwell over what has already happened. Aditi ji said, that we have to, take care of our own, take care of ourselves first, and take precautions and move forward, because we have to deal with the situation as it comes. The virus isn't going anytime soon, and we just have to, prepare ourselves to fight it in a better way. Nor was the government, nor were the doctors, nor was the common man prepared for such a thing. But I think we are doing well. We are doing well to combat the virus, and it's very important that we come together and fight it together, because it's something, we were fighting a virus, we were fighting an enemy which we can't see. So it's very important for us to come together and fight the virus. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Aditi, just to continue with what Zeeshan mentioned, that it was a learning experience for all of us. But if we have to talk about the behavioral patterns, could you suggest something for the viewers and everyone watching here? What would be the behavioral patterns one should adopt when there is a situation like this, when there is a sudden break in the the monotonous cycle of life? Because as we all are discussing, that this was something which came from nowhere. Like we were not prepared, and the initial months went by still smoothly because people thought it might last for a month or 2 or 3 months. But now that we are close to 5 months into the situation, it's having a great toll on the mental health. So what should be the pattern one should adopt?
So to take a step back and to think of life. If I ask you, Pallavi, can you guarantee that I will wake up tomorrow morning? You won't be able to guarantee that, right? So we all know that change is the only constant of life, and uncertain is certain. So that's a given, even if we think it's monotonous life, because that is a norm that we are used to. However, if you take life, there are so many obstacles, hurdles that come into your life, and you're like, oh, but I didn't plan for this. And everybody goes through this. It's just that we have not had such a global pandemic in our lifetimes. We've not faced it. Therefore, it's a uniform thing that everybody is facing at one time, a given time. So, having said that, our lives are not certain. There is nothing in life that's certain. So we just need to accept it. Once you create the awareness that, okay, this is what it is, that itself will lead to a lot of the release of the stress that we are carrying on in our mind, that oh my god, I can't go out, now what? We've gotten used to it. It has become a norm for many people. But yes, like you rightly said, that I have seen a great deal of increase in anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I have a lot of clients coming to me because of this, and that's what I'm working with the clients, to say that okay, let's become aware that okay, this is a fact. It is happening to us. Now what? How can we look at life so that we can alter it and make use of this time, which is actually a gift? All of us always complain, oh, I don't have time to pursue my hobby, or I don't have time to upskill myself. How about using this time so that you emerge from this a lot more powerful, a lot more productive? And there are businesses which are thriving. It's a fact. If you take the stock market, or if you look at different uh, businesses or work profiles, there are people who are thriving. So they put themselves into the thriving mode, and that's how they are into that situation. If you go into survival mode, then you will face all these stress, anxiety, panic, and so on and so forth.
Naavnidhi, as we know, you are also a healer, and that's exactly what you do, what Aditi is talking about, having that positivity. But I think it must be very, very difficult for any of us to actually feel positive, waking up to a news of, as we talk today on Monday, the COVID cases mark has crossed 14 lakhs in India. So it's easier said than done. But how do we keep the cool? How do we manage to keep ourselves positive with each passing day? Naavnidhi?
Yeah, thank you, Pallavi. The thing is, meditation, according to me and according to my study, meditation is one activity which keeps your mind, soul, and body in alignment with each other. So our mind produces like 60,000 thoughts in a day. So 60,000, if we, keep on thinking about every thought which is produced, so we are going to face the mental health issues, which many of us are going through. My clients also come up with those. So when we meditate, we may make a practice of meditating every day. So our mind learns to focus on the things which are relevant to us and how to prioritize it. Otherwise we are like a computer. Our mind is like a computer. Since morning we start opening different windows. My social media is also on, Facebook is on, everything is on. But in the end, in the evening or in the afternoon, if I'm planning to send a mail to my workplace or my business concern, or a relevant mail, and my laptop will be working very slow, then I'll say, oh, stupid laptop, it does not work. It's not the laptop which is stupid, it's about the windows which are open. So we need to shut those windows, once we are done with it. So the same way meditation helps you to get rid of the past work which you have done. Meditation teach you to how to be associated and then getting detached with things, attachment in detachment. This is the way meditation helps you. So that's what I always say, that one should meditate every day. How we focus on breathing, how our life depends on breathing. If we are not breathing, we are declared dead. So the same way we have to meditate. And I'm very happy that Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister, he is focusing lot on yoga and meditation. And I also
Sure.
want to add into this that now everyone is saying go local, go local. So meditation is also Indian originated, and we
Surely,
should
surely.
looking at adopting it. So I always
Sure.
advise that meditation helps everyone to deal with in a positive way, because the 60,000 thoughts will be a series of the first thought when you get up in the morning.
Sure. We'll get some more details from Naavnidhi. But meanwhile, Aditi, I wanted to as Naavnidhi also slightly, hinted that if we suddenly wake up to a thought that we are going to be positive and we're going to do meditation or join some wellness program or anything, it might be really difficult. But if we bring that into practice, if we make it a daily habit of, surrounding ourselves with positive thoughts and positive people, that might really make a difference. So tell us something about the transformational workshops you conduct and some wellness programs. Do they really help, and to what extent?
So, a point that you made earlier, where I want to again shed light on, is to surround yourself with positivity. Now, given the situation, it is not possible to be positive all the time. And human mind is such that we have the propensity towards negativity, which is why our news is filled with negative news, right? Most of the 99% of the news that is printed or shown on TV is negative, because we human beings have that thing. So it is not like you have to constantly think of positive thoughts. That's not possible. That is impossible, in fact, right? The point is that you have to catch the negative thought as it arises in your mind. That is a crucial point. So negative thoughts can come, and that's okay. So the awareness of, we have positive and negative thoughts, and both are okay, as long as we don't get carried away. So you don't go into the negative spiral of a negative thought, and 2 hours you're spending in thinking of that negative thought. That will take you away from your harmony or your tranquility. So like Naavnidhi said, that meditation definitely helps. Now, I've been practicing Vipassana for the last 12 years, and being a worrier myself, I used to be worried about smallest of things. What I've realized is that even today I get negative thoughts, but I'm able to let go of them a lot easily. So that is the stage that one needs to try and achieve, which is, it's okay to be the same. The trick to do it is not to read the news, not to look at any negative kind of information the minute you wake up. Of course, you need to be aware of what is happening in the world, but why don't we keep it for noon or 11:30 and not the minute you open your eyes? Because then you're starting your day with negativity. So that is one point that one definitely needs to be aware of. And always speak. If you're going into this negative zone, talk to somebody and get out of it, or use any other modality that you find useful for you. Like some people like music, or some people like to whatever their hobby is, do that. That will take you out of that negative zone.
Surely, surely. So could you tell us about the wellness programs I mentioned? I mean, do they really work, and how long is the duration?
Yeah, so I recently launched 21-day transformation program, which is looking at health holistically. So I cover physical aspect of health as well as your mind and your soul. So it's a combination of all three. So it's psychology, which, because I'm a psychologist, medical doctor, so I'm looking at the physical health, and spirituality, which is my Vipassana background. So I've combined these, and whatever knowledge I have accumulated over years, I have condensed it to launch this 21-day program. And so far, Pallavi, I've been fortunate that I have seen good results.
And that was wonderful talking to you, Aditi, and thanks for your time. We shall
so
now move forward with the panel discussion, and sorry to keep all the other panelists waiting. But as we are talking about keeping ourselves positive and staying away from negative thoughts, but there are two people on the panel, Zeeshan and Dr. Chinmay, who cannot but stay away from such a situation, because they are actually going in the field and meeting patients and meeting people who are directly affected by the situation. So Zeeshan, I would like to know from you, has there been any very personal kind of an experience that you would like to share here on this platform? A lot of people are watching you and they want to listen.
See, Abhishek, I can't think of one such experience, but on the whole, there have been so many experiences with me in the past. I mean, as you said, that it's not been much of a lockdown for us, because from morning to night, I mean, we're at it. We're trying to help out people from grocery kits, providing grocery kits, to providing people with life-saving medicines. I mean, I've been working in my constituency, Bandra East. My father, Mr. Baba Siddique, has been working in Bandra West, from providing grocery kits to medicines to arranging migrant travel. But yeah, I think the most important would be, whenever I've been getting calls at about 3 a.m., 4 a.m. also, that, somebody needs a certain medicine, and I have a medical helpline, which consists of a team that manages calls 24/7. And so, helping a person with a medicine which he's not being able to find otherwise, and the gratitude which we receive from their family member, that is something which is really touching, because it's a time which which we are supposed to help everybody out, and when you touch somebody's life, or you try to at least contribute in saving someone's life, you feel really good. And there are many instances where we've been thanked the family, where we've given medicines for free, and we finding people beds, ventilators, and ICUs when people are running about from one pillar to post, not being able to find a bed in a hospital. So we've got a dedicated team helping hundreds of patients every day, understanding their needs, and in touch with all the deans and doctors of different hospitals, etc. And so yeah, all of this is something which helps you sleep better at night. Yeah.
Surely. In fact, Dr. Chinmay, I think even doctors are having the hardest time of their. So I would like to know from you, since doctors, they don't have the option, like similar to Zeeshan's story, that you have to go out every day and you're actually exposed to dangers of the disease.
Right.
But then you, of course, take all the precautions. But how are the doctors dealing with the mental stress of seeing so many patients almost every day?
I mean, there is definitely a lot of mental stress which goes through when you are seeing these kind of patients. In the earlier stages, it was even more because it was an entirely new disease, not just for me, for the entire world. No one really knew what was going around. But as the days have progressed, we have found out not the cure, but things, the way to deal with it. There have been other medicines which have been repurposed for this, and we have started using them for specifically for COVID-19. So the mortality rate and everything has started to go down, which is really a heartening feeling. You enjoy the look on the faces of the patients when they are really going back home. Of course, you have seen, everyone has circulated a lot of videos of patients getting discharged with a round of applause. They're being welcomed at home with flower showerings and claps and everything. So that uh, that kind of a feeling which you get once that you have successfully discharged a patient home is just an absolutely heartening feeling, and you just get over the entire stress that you've had for so many months. You just get over with just that look of that patient. So it's really important, and it's, yes, it is stressful, but each doctor finds his own way to de-stress himself. As we were discussing, that you find some or the other way that not just the patients, of course the patients also go through a lot of emotional stress, but the doctors, they find a hobby. I've started listening more to music, stuff like that. After coming home, you just try to dissociate yourself from the day's events, and you wake up the next day fresh to carry on with this fight altogether again. So it's really important to de-stress even for doctors. Yes, it is a very stressful feeling, but so far
Sure.
so good.
Krishna, in fact, we've been talking about the various types of people who are exposed to it, and they are, dealing with the stress. There's one very important, aspect to it is the online education system. I mean, like we see, you are associated with the premier educational group, Rahul Education Society. So I would like to know from you how this has really impacted the students. I mean, from toddlers to school, higher school and even colleges, and all the education has gone online. So what is your take on the situation?
Pallavi, hi, actually, and everybody, very good afternoon. To be very specific, we are actually operating in the northern Mumbai zone, like which is called to be Mira Bhayandar. And there you understand the situation went so high, and it is very well displayed also, where everywhere it is in news that it is the Corona COVID-19 cases are very high there. So yes, the children were very much suffering at home when they were locked down altogether inside home. So we had to start with online program when we got calls from the mothers specifically that what they are going to do. There were altogether uncertain situations around what the children are going to do at home, whether the exams will be conducted or not, whether the schools will be continued or not, and even 12th grade examinations and all the this entrance examinations were all postponed. So everybody was in altogether an uncertain situation. So everything was like keeping all this in accordance and thinking about it. We started with online Google Classroom, Zoom technology we somehow started, and I'm very thankful to the technology specific because where technology was just a curriculum, now it's started as a practice for everybody and each one of us. Like, and thankful to the media even which brought so many things in our attention that how we have to go aware about everything around us. And not only education, we had to do so many other calls. Like my father-in-law is a very good social worker. I mean, he's very well known, well reputed in that particular area. He was called by many NGOs, by many people who all are working for the social benefit and social upliftment. So he was called for distribution of food and migration of like mobility of this migrants and so many other things. So we had to extend our hands, a helping hand to them in that particular time where everybody was locked in and everybody was scared of their lives. We were all together on toes in the social background where things were altogether uncertain. So we had doctors also, we had our helpers as our policemen and all Corona warriors, you could say. They all came ahead, and all our family friends, they all came ahead with all their cooperations to donate food, to donate monetary help to
Sure,
the people
sure.
who were needing shelter home for those people who were uh, altogether locked down at where they were not given any kind of support, when they were altogether out. They wanted to move to the back to their natives.
Sure,
So
sure,
our institutes were also providing that shelter home facilities.
sure.
So
In fact, Krishna, as you're mentioning about donations, I would like to ask from Zeeshan that as we saw in the initial stages, a lot of influential people from being celebrities or sports persons, they kind of came forward and they donated, handsome amounts to the CM Relief Fund. So, were there any initiatives taken up by common individuals, and how far did they help in this whole relief activity?
See, obviously about the CM relief fund, I think the CM would be best to answer that. But about
But in
otherwise,
general, in your
yeah,
constituency, what has been the
I'm getting
response? I would like to know.
I'm
Yeah.
getting to that. Yeah. So basically, obviously, when the pandemic started, the lockdown happened, it was, we knew that when we met our people, we also understood that people was not only scared about the virus, but they were scared that the hunger would get to them before the virus would. And that played a very important role why we thought of distributing these grocery kits to people. In fact, in my assembly, I've distributed grocery kits to more than 150,000 families. And my dad, from Mr. Baba Siddique, who's been an ex-minister of Maharashtra, in Bandra West, he's distributed about 110,000. So in total, we've helped out around 3.5 lakh families with grocery kits. And other than that, obviously there are many other NGOs and all working independently. I see on Twitter, there is I'm really active on Twitter, so there are people who send out requests, and people accept these requests and try to help out people in Mumbai and Maharashtra, and also celebrities have come in. I would like to mention Mr. Salman Khan. He's helped thousands of families also all across Mumbai and Maharashtra. And even distributing cooked food, because there was a challenge we faced, because migrant laborers, when migrant laborers were before they went back to their home state, lots of migrant laborers were stuck in Mumbai, and these people did not have access to kitchens in their houses. They're used to staying in karkhanas or warehouses, as they call it. So we used to distribute cooked food to them. So it was obviously a challenge because it's not something we've done before. So we had community kitchens in Bandra, Bandra East and Bandra West, giving these migrant laborers food twice a day, because it was very important that people do not get out of their houses in the fear of not being able to get basic necessities. So I'm grateful to everyone, all the individual NGOs, celebrities, everyone coming together, because this is a time where we all have to come together and work towards, not only defeating the virus, but the problems that come along with the virus.
Surely, surely. And as well, we would like to know, since we know Mumbai has been among the worst hit cities, if we talk about, overall numbers. So how do you think the people, they responded to the restrictions and the regulations by the authorities? I mean, was there any problem, conflicts in cooperation? What was it?
See, I'll tell you. Obviously, it was very new to everyone. In the initial phases, when a lockdown is imposed, there was a sense of doom. There was anxiety which crept into people. That there's a lockdown. We should not stay in. Obviously, in the initial phases, it was not well followed by people. But as soon as the lockdown kept increasing and the time period kept increasing, people actually feared for their lives and for the safety of their families. Once that crept in, people also living in slums and chawls, etc., started following the rules. Obviously, it was a very big challenge for us, for the administrators. In my ward, there have been more than about 2,500 cases in HE's ward, but we had to go to hotspots and lots of places, which have red zones, which have areas which are infected with many patients, and we had to speak to them and request them that please do not step out. In such a fight, many people have lost their lives, like cops and policemen and even the BMC officers. I'm the MLA of Bandra East, which comes in H East ward. Only 3 weeks back, the H East ward municipal commissioner, he passed away because of the virus, and he was on field with me every day. So we have to respect the authorities who have helped them and are on the ground requesting the people. And it's obviously the numbers of Mumbai are coming down. We have to give it to the people of Mumbai as well, because it's not easy to stay at home for 4 months, and people are doing it in a very positive way. And kudos to them, kudos to everyone for doing this in a combined effort.
Absolutely. So I now would like to know from Dr. Chinmay, is there any story you would like to share, any personal experience, since you've been treating patients and you've been seeing them day in and day out, any sort of story, any experience you would like to share on this platform?
There are multiple stories we have had. When you have close to 1,500 patients, there are bound to be numerous stories. It's difficult to single out just one or two stories, but we had, I think the oldest patient that we treated was a 91-year-old gentleman who went home well. The relatives were profusely thankful of us. They have messaged us, emailed us, called up even after he's gone home. Even a month after that, they have thanked us to bring him back to life, as they say. Apart from that, we've had we've had entire families being admitted with us. We have had a son and a father admitted on beds adjacent to each other, and the son asks how's the father is asking how's the son, and both were critical on a ventilator, but we managed to pull them off as well. So there have been multiple instances where that kind of a human spirit which kicks in, and these stories are just heartening. We've had one of our colleagues who was working with us. He in the initial stages, when I had asked them who all are willing to work in COVID areas, the first response I get from this guy was, "Sir, I will kill Corona." And unfortunately, he contracted the disease, but his spirit was such indomitable that he came out of it hale and hearty, and he's doing very well. And I was very thankful for him for really motivating the rest of the guys as well, that okay, this guy has really driven Corona away in that sense. But it's an amazing feeling to have, and it's a real salute to all these stories, which we've had numerous stories, and it's an amazing feeling altogether.
And in particularly, if I talk about you as a doctor, how are you keeping the negativity at bay? Just reminding yourself that this is your duty. It might be a bit monotonous. So is there any mantra from your end, you feel you would share, you'd like to share here?
As I was discussing earlier, it would you just have to find one particular thing, which I even tell the patients, that even if you are quarantined at home, you have to find that one particular thing which you have never done. So you have people complain about gyms being closed. How are we going to exercise and all those things? But there have been so many apps that are available for home exercising. So you can download those apps. You can do an exercise at home. I do the same at my place. You come back home, you listen to music, you try to dissociate yourself. Yes, it is part of your duty, it is part of your job, and there is no getting away from it. But the amount of support that you will receive from your family, from your close relatives, and everyone who are really praying for you, who really hoping that you don't contract that disease, and thus that support is something which drives you on and pulls you through. Yeah, okay. And the dissociation is absolutely important. Once you are at home, you really don't want to go back to those old things, back to what is the patient condition. Of course, that is your responsibility. In the end, you have to do it. But
Sure.
sometime you find for just for yourself, you read a book, you listen to something, you watch TV, do something, have an online webinar, web series or something to watch on the streaming platforms, and just not think of the day that has gone by.
Sure, sure. In fact, Naavnidhi, Dr. Chinmay is suggesting some apps, and even earlier while we were talking to Aditi, she was talking about some wellness programs. But do tell us which could be the most effective way of keeping ourselves cool and composed, and tell us something more about the meditation club Inner Ziva, which you founded.
Yeah, so the thing is, keeping themselves cool and keeping themselves in positivity is depending on person to person. Maybe music keeps me happy, but the other person does not relate with music. So whatever make them feel good and in positive spirit, they should, start doing is this is the time we can explore ourselves. What makes you happy? There are people like my mother, when she cooks she is super happy, and when she serves us the food, and the smile which comes on our face, that gives her a kick. So everyone has this time, I should tell everyone that I tell all my clients, you should explore what gives you happiness. It's not that what giving me happiness is going to give you happiness. And about my Inner Jiva club, it's a club which is a meditation and breakfast club, which was launched in November by China NC. And as I have transformed my life from a girl who was body shamed, who was looked down upon by everyone and the family members, and to manifesting my own crown. So meditation has really transformed me. So that's why I thought, why not spread it to people? And I, going through all these my phases of life, I have developed a different way of meditation. The not the old one where they say, empty your mind. You can't empty your mind any which ways. And there is an old saying, more you resist, more it will persist. So if you will tell someone to empty your mind, the thoughts will come, a multiples. So I have a mindful approach towards it. I always tell all the clients who join my club or my other clients also. So I tell them that when you are meditating, you don't tell your heart to stop pumping. You don't tell your respiratory system to stop, breathing in and out. So how can you command your brain to stop, producing thoughts? That's the work
Right.
of the mind. So we should let it produce the thoughts, but our work is not to get entangled with the thoughts, whether that is positive or negative. We just follow the process of the meditation, because thoughts are not our enemies any which ways. Thoughts are the
Surely.
signal of that our mind is working properly. So this is what
Right.
about my inner jiva. And uh, as Aditi ji rightly said, that we are human beings, we tend to have negative thoughts and positive thoughts. But when we continuously keep ourselves on a check, all the time, like now we are keeping a check that we are maintaining social distancing, we are at home. So the same way, when we are at home, we have to keep a check on our mental, processing also, what we are processing, whether we are getting so much involved and attached to a negative thought and cooking up the whole story and creating that vibration around us. And if we catch ourselves doing that, we have to pay attention to the self talk we have with ourselves. So when we caught ourselves doing that, immediately we have to change. The first thing I advise everyone to change their psychology and physiology. If you are sitting somewhere, get up from there. If your shoulders are down drooping, get up and pull your shoulder up. If you see doing yourself some action, like I noticed that when I used to get stressed, I always used to move my fingers like this, and immediately I turned it other ways around, and it gives me a different feeling. So we have to really keep a check on ourselves. Now it's our own responsibility how we are taking everything, how we are processing thoughts.
Sure.
Because when we listen to news channels, there are a lot of news, which scares you out, which gives you, like, you won't be able to sleep the entire night if you listen to the news. So we
Sure,
have to
sure.
take proper advice and keep on,
And being
meditation is
aware,
the,
that's right.
yeah.
Being aware and being in the moment, that's one of the key factors. Krishna, I would like to know from you, since we're talking about so much of tools of making ourselves cool and stuff, there's one more thing which is happening around, which is the online coaching system, which we initially also discussed. We talked about the positives, how it has smoothened the whole thing because schools and colleges are shut. But are there any drawbacks, since we know that the screen time has increased? Students are, first they have to face the screen before the classes, then for some recreational activity or something. So the overall screen time has gone up by hours. So what is your take, and how can that be monitored in any way?
Yeah, Pallavi, actually, I have myself made a webinar onto this, and I have posted it on my Rahul Education YouTube channel itself, that I have requested all teachers and educators all around them that we need to keep a check with that particular learning, which is very much important for the children, are only needed to be taught on that online medium. Like we say that to be as an andragogical approach, that
I think there's some audio lag there.
Yeah.
So Zeeshan, I would like to come to you now. As we're discussing about the whole situation, I would like to know from you as an individual, what is your say? Has India handled the situation better than the other countries? We know the numbers are
it's a real
increasing.
difficult task.
What is your take? Sorry to cut
Yeah.
you, Krishna. We'll come back to you, but meanwhile, just want to get a quick answer from Zeeshan. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sorry. Can you
Yeah,
repeat
it's
your
for you.
question? I lost you there.
Sure.
I lost you there.
I
If you could
just
just repeat your question. Yeah.
Sure. We're talking about how India has handled the situation. I would like to, take
Yeah.
input from all of you. From your point of view, do you think India has handled it well? We, imposed the lockdown much earlier, and still there in some places across India, there are weekend lockdowns in some states. What is your say? What's your take?
See, as much as as much as I agree that we weren't, nobody was prepared for such a pandemic to come. But obviously, we could have. There are areas where we have done well, and there are areas which we can improve on. There are many things which we could have, done in a better way, like the situation of the whole migrant labor, the virus increasing because of that, and there are a couple of things we could have done in a better way. We could have taken the virus a little more seriously, before, and that could have, been handled in a better situation. But as you all say, that we cannot dwell in the past. Right now, we are moving in a correct direction, and I feel that. The people of the country also are as responsible as the government in itself, and we work hand in glove. If the people and the government work together, I feel that we can combat the virus in a much better way. Yeah.
Sure. Dr. Chinmay, same question to you. You think India has handled it in a very good manner, or you think something could have been done? And even in the current status, you think we're handling it well?
I think we are handling it to the best of our capacity and our ability. To be fair to the government, it's a new thing for governments all over the world. No one had
Right.
predicted this. No one was aware how to deal with this. So whatever baby steps that we took in the initial phases were right at that point of time. They are right. I mean, just the other day we were discussing amongst our doctors that Mumbai is probably the best place to be in at this point of time. The number of cases, the active cases are down. The number of bed availability is great. The drugs are available at uh, uh, easily. So it is probably the best. And if you see, if what we are observing is that the numbers, if you check the numbers, Mumbai's numbers are really down, whereas the other surrounding areas, where you consider Thane or Pune for that matter. So we have started getting patients from the outside of Mumbai into the hospitals, not in the general public per se, but we've started facing that kind of an influx of patients. So Mumbai is probably the best place. We've whatever to the best of our ability we have tried, and I think the corporation, the government, the central government, everyone has done a fantastic job. It's to be fair, there is nothing wrong or right in this. It's a new thing for everyone. They are learning at every point of time. The scientists are not aware how to deal with this. The medical fraternity was not aware how to deal with it. So you really can't, blame anyone in this. It is what it is. You are facing the pandemic, and I'm sure the same situation occurred in 1920 Spanish flu. People and
Sure.
the governments at that point of time were also not aware as to how to deal with. Maybe when we get out of this, probably we should have a devised a strategy wherein we know how to deal with a pandemic. At when we get out of this, in the next pandemic or anything such a similar situation strikes us, we should know how to deal with it then. But right now, whatever we are doing, I think we are doing a fantastic job. We've been able to gradually come out of the lockdown in a phased manner, which is also essential. And yeah, the important part in Mumbai also is that we have a relative freedom to go out. There's
Right.
no situation wherein you are closed down, locked inside your houses. You're not allowed to go outside. So you have kind of a relative freedom. You can move about, and there is availability of hospital beds. Essentially, the purpose of the lockdown was the same, to stall the entire economy till the time that beds become available. So
Sure.
that is, I think, it has achieved its purpose.
In fact, Zeeshan, just to add to what Dr. Chinmay mentioned, he said that we learned with the process. Like initially, when it struck us, we didn't know how to, react to it. Then over time, from the government side as well as individuals, there's been a sense of responsibility. So, from your end, I would like to know that in the coming years, God forbid, we may not have to face such a situation, but in case there is something of this sort of medical emergency or a humanitarian crisis like this, what efforts is your team doing to improve the medical situation, medical facilities? Anything from your side?
See, I agree with Doctor when he said that Mumbai is the best place to be right now. When you asked me the question, I meant to say there are certain parts of India which are dealing with it in a good way and certain which can do better. So obviously, being a Mumbaikar, we are dealing with it in the best way possible. And coming to the future, I think, as he rightly said, that anything that happens today prepares us for the future. So, God forbid any of this happens in the future. I think we are going to be much more prepared for any untoward, not only a pandemic, but any, medical emergency or any of that. We are well prepared. See, if you actually see, I don't know the count right now, but in India, for every 1,000 people, there is one hospital bed or something. So I feel like right now, it's a lesson for us that we need to spend more, and we need to pay more attention to the medical facility. We need to direct more funds towards the medical facilities, like other countries are doing so. And I agree with what he said, that we should be better prepared the next time. But I hope there is no next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely, surely. In fact, Krishna, just to come back to you, we were talking about, how it can be restricted, the screen time that we talked about. Also, just would like to add one more question to it. In your point of view, how do you see the future of education and schools because of the corona pandemic? I mean, we really don't know when the schools and the colleges will be back and operational, as in physically, students would be, allowed to go and, attend the session. So academically, there is certainly a scare and there is uncertainty among students. What is your say and your take on the future of education or online education?
Yeah, Pallavi, actually, I think online education is the best education in today's scenario. And I would say that, yeah, universities and education should take a step forward. That way, we teach them, which is very much important to them. And there should be some syllabus and curriculum deduction, uh, where the children should be out of this panic situation, that they are really, really, they should be also given some messages from the government that they have to be relieved out of this tension, whether of this uncertainty of education. Maybe I think they should also. I mean, as an educationist, I think the academic year should always should change. The session should change. Maybe from December to December we can hold on, and we can wait for the situation to improve till date. Unless the vaccines are available, I don't think so. The children should be called to school campus, because after the children, and if one get affected, I think the entire class and the community and the entire parents at home, everybody suffers. So I think uh, we should be very much careful. And as an academician, I can understand the feeling of parents. I can understand the feeling of the students, but there is no other way out, and I have to wait and watch that unless everything is all settled down. I mean, I need to take the second thought and third thought before I welcome the children in my educational institute.
Surely, surely. A thought has to be given to this, what to do with the academic year and for the students. Coming back to Naavnidhi, we were talking about different therapies and different ways of meditating. Also, tell us about the Annapurti food drive. Could you share something about it?
Yeah, from childhood only, we have been taught in the house that we should always give back to the society. So if I am doing a good job or I have a best of the car, but if I'm not contributing to the society, so it does not give me that contentment. So with that thought only, I started this Annapurti drive in September, and we feed 11 people every day. So that started in September and still it's on. It's going to be on forever till the time I am survive. So so that is what Annapurti is, because I feel that we breathe in and we breathe out. So that completes the life circle. If we only keep on breathing in and don't breathe out, the life ends there. So it is very important to contribute in the society in our own capacities. Some people are doing a lot which I may not be able to do at this point of time, but I'm doing best what I can do in my capacity. So that is what
Sure.
Annapurti is all about.
Sure. So we have few questions from the viewers, and Radha has sent us questions. This, I think, is for Dr. Chinmay. If we can quickly take it up. It says that there are some news or some reports, I think, which she has read, that cured patients are coming back with some other symptoms. So in that situation, what can be done for the family, by the family members as well as the cured patient? What is your suggestion on this?
No, as far as the guidelines go, we have, once the patient gets discharged from the hospital, we have a 14-day quarantine, which is a must for the patient, irrespective of what was his onset of symptoms. So, say on the 1st of August, a patient gets discharged. So, till the 15th of August, that patient is quarantined, self-quarantined at home. For as far as precautions for the rest of the family members are taken, they, once the patient gets detected with a positive report, they themselves also go into a quarantine, which is the prevailing guideline from the corporation and the public health authorities which are coming. As far as cured patients who are going back home, there are certain reports wherein they are coming back with different kinds of symptoms, where specifically related to heart ailments which are coming up, but these are all anecdotal evidences. There is no clear-cut basis for them, or there has not been a study for such kind of an ailment coming after the patient has been treated. It may not necessarily, so you need a longer duration of study to understand whether the cardiac ailment which is coming after the COVID-19 is it related to the COVID-19, or is it a entirely different process altogether. So yeah, you need to take care. I mean, it is very difficult to comment at this point of time whether COVID-19 is the reason for the rest of the things that are happening. But I
Sure.
mean, it's a new disease for everyone, so everyone is learning with time.
Okay, so there's one more question. I think Zeeshan can take it up. It says that lockdown has slowed down the economy, and had lockdown been implemented only at the places where the numbers were high and they were in the red zone, economy wouldn't have been affected that badly. What is your take on this whole situation?
See, it's a debatable topic because see, we cannot please everybody. At the start, I can talk about Mumbai and Maharashtra. We tried to uh, request people that come out only when it's necessary, to only go to workplaces. But I can talk. I mean, I've seen people didn't follow it, so we had to get strict for the well-being of those individuals, because we cannot tell somebody that this area is going to be under lockdown because it has 100 more patients and the other area won't. So we had to have a common rule for Mumbai, and obviously I would request the central government also, and to give reliefs to MSF, to medium small enterprises and the middle class people, and for all businesses. But I feel about the lockdown concern, the safety of the people was more essential at that time. And as we are opening up slowly, as we are in an unlocked mission, I feel like the government should give some relaxations to to people with small businesses, etc., so that we can tackle the economic crisis, because things aren't going to be normal for a while now. We have to accept the fact the way it is, and we can only accept relaxations and help from the government. But I don't think that the lockdown was a bad idea. It was a good idea because the safety comes first. Yeah.
Sure, sure. There's another question. I think Naavnidhi can take it up. It says that social distancing is good. In fact, it was a cure for this, but some people mistook it as social boycotting, which actually led to a lot of stress, and especially people who are staying away from homes. They stay alone, or be it students or even senior citizens for that matter. So, how to actually handle the whole thing?
See, the social distancing is the only solution which we have for COVID-19. But, just keeping away from people and not, we can be maintaining social distancing, but side by side, we can help in each other's life. We can contribute in each other's life. We can, like me being a healer, I always send positive energies to everyone in my entire complex so that everyone is safe and sound. So the same way we can help if someone is positive, so we can uh, go ahead and help them in a way that we also are safe, because we have to first clear our mind. There is a lot of clutter in our head, which has, I think, has come out now in form of COVID-19. Earlier we used to feel jealous or have lot of competitions with other. We always used to keep mental distance from people. So now the universe has reversed the game by sending this virus, and we are keeping away from people. So please spread love so that everyone can be blessed.
Sure. So that's one advice from Navniti. Be blessed and stay positive and also spread love. Zeeshan, before we let you go, just one line from you about your success mantra and what you would like to tell the young generation.
I'd just like to tell them to, pursue your dreams, to believe in something and work towards it. I'm only 27, and I'm the youngest MLA of Maharashtra. I was 4 years old since I wanted to get into public service, and worked my way towards it. Joined the youth politics when I was 18, and today at 27, I'm the youngest MLA. And I wish to continue my service towards public and service towards humanity. So that's been my goal, and everyone just has to work hard towards their goal, and until they achieve it, and then set a new goal. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So important is to have a goal and then chase it. That's great. In fact, Dr. Chinmay, just one last line, last input from you. How to bring discipline at home? I mean, you yourself are a doctor, you know how everything has to be handled. But for others who are listening to you, we already talked about how to bring positivity and stuff. But as we all know that we're sleeping less and eating a lot at home, so it's a bit difficult to actually keep up that discipline. So, one word from you on this.
No, I mean, ultimately, whatever you're doing, whether for safety, it is for your own safety. Everyone needs to understand that, whether it is not going out, wearing a mask, practicing hand washing continuously, sanitizing your hands, everything is for their own safety. It is important for everyone to understand that if you are not following these practices, then it is a very high possibility of you contracting the disease and falling ill to it. Maybe you can get it back home. Maybe you may not get affected. You may remain an asymptomatic carrier, but your close family member may start suffering from it. So it is important for everyone to have that kind of a discipline. uh, you can devise your own method. There is no fixed set of rules for how to manage these things. Every person has their own methodology to uh, follow these principles. But yeah, the basic principles will always remain: social distancing, wearing a mask, and washing your hands with a sanitizer very frequently. I think that is the main mantra which will allow us to get out of this safe and sound.
Surely. Krishna, just taking that one last input from you, your advice to the students in this whole situation.
Students should always understand the difficulties what teachers are going through while they are going for online education, because teachers are making very hard efforts. They are taking a lot of efforts to make all learning study materials online, and some students are not very interested in online education, but I can understand their psychology, even because they are also going through a lot of stress, sharing a great screen time. But anyways, they should cooperate to distance. And online education only is the solution today for today's scenario. We all know that. So we need to be very strong enough, and education will always be there, whether it be online or offline. Entire society is today learning something or the other. So we have to have a strong morality to deal with the situation, and whatever your ambition or goal is to, we have to understand that yes, somewhere we are down by nature. Nature is always a strong guru for us. So we understand the nature, and we respect every elderly people. We respect every teacher around us, whether he be a doctor or a social worker or anybody who is working day and night for us. So we should be respecting them and understanding and cooperate them, and accordingly go ahead, learning online, acquiring their skills
Sure. So
online.
all the efforts made by everyone has to be appreciated. That is the conclusion we have come to. We've learned a lot in this interactive session. I thank all of my panelists, and as a token of appreciation, all these COVID warriors will be facilitated in the form of digital certificates, which will be sent by our team. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, and thanks to all the viewers who have attended this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.